In China, your networks and relationships are defined through what's called Guanxi. Guanxi is the relationship that comes about when there is an absence of legislation or a lack of transparency in the government organisations.
You must first build the relationship. It's about personal relationships. It took me a long time to find out what that relationship was, and it's about a network of ex-schoolmates, and it's a schoolmate society, so that if we don't know how to solve a problem, your schoolmate will have a network that we haven't got that we can break into and get the problem solved. And it took me a while to understand that that's how it worked, but that's basically the network.
Relationships have been really important. They happen at two levels. One is an individual and one is at a company level. And the way we build them is just take a lot of time, and it's about not rushing things. It's just about building that trust, building the knowledge, and getting to know each other.
In the past, Guanxi filled in for the absence of laws and regulations. So with the modernisation of China, in some places it has become increasingly less critical.
Guanxi is important, but I think it's not as important today as it perhaps was 10 years ago. And now, I think governmental, maybe perhaps business to government, is less and less. The state-owned enterprises are closing. They've all been privatised, so it now has people running it who have shares, and they're probably more interested in business to business. So I think Guanxi is less important in that case. We still find it's important, though, with dealing with statutory departments, tax, customs departments, the Chinese MAF. Those three, particularly for us, are important, and you must have Guanxi. It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. You need to have a relationship. You've got to sort things out over dinner. That is the way it goes.
Number one thing is you have the good product, qualified product. That's number one thing. And apart from that, of course, if you can have a good relation with the people, you have better chance.
We do get frustrated at times with the length of negotiations. It does take a little bit longer to build trust with your business partners. When I first come here 8 years ago, a lot of the companies that we were doing business with were state-owned companies. Now we're dealing with young, educated individuals that own their companies themselves. And these guys are intense people. They're very, as I said, very highly educated, and certainly the relationship thing, the dinners and the wining and dining, is certainly not as important as it's been in the past.
Good business practice, strong contracts, good relationships built around communication and around sort of shared history means far more than Guanxi.
Today, many parts of China operate around international business practices, but Guanxi carries on as a strong feeling of interpersonal obligation, loyalty, trust and cooperation.
My relationship with Lao Fusen goes back to, or at least 22 years. I always say that Fusen knows everybody in China except one person, and we're still looking for that one person. But he knows everybody, and without having a contact like that, makes doing business here quite difficult.
Our relationship with Makua has been hugely beneficial because they are a company that's held in high standing within the Chinese environment, especially in this local area. So having them as almost a sponsor enabled us to meet with the key people, understand what was going on. Essentially they just opened doors and smoothed the way for us quite often.